Hello and welcome to week 6. So before we move on to unit 3, I just wanted to take a minute and thank you and commend you for the amazing work that you did in unit 2 when you were looking at children's health. You had to do a tremendous amount of research, and I hope that you found it really helpful and interesting and practical because you were able to choose the different illnesses or conditions that children may have based on your own personal experiences or just because you wanted to know more about it. So I hope that you found the exercise is helpful and you saved all of the resources so that you'll have them for the future. So again, I just wanted to thank you. I know it was a lot of work, but I do hope that you feel that it was worth it. I'll be grading your growth brochures and or flyers this week, so I'm really interested to see how you chose to put your information together so that it's something that will be helpful, not just for you, but hopefully for families that you're going to be working with. So this week we're going to move on to Unit 3, which is going to deal with safety. It's going to cover 2 weeks, and so this week you're going to be looking at what a high quality environment should look like, especially in regards to safety, as well as the sad aspect of child abuse and neglect. One thing that's really important to note is that if you're working with children, you are a mandated reporter, which means that you are required to report suspected child abuse and neglect. And so Chapter 10 is going to be covering that with you. So when you look into this week's module, you're going to see, again, we're starting Unit 3. We want to keep children safe. Here's a cute little video. I always try and put one in there as we're beginning a new unit. And so when you start looking at what you're going to be doing this week, you're going to be looking at 2 different chapters, Chapter 7 and Chapter 10. They really are looking at 2 completely different things because Chapter 7 is looking at how we want to keep the classroom safe for the children, whereas Chapter 10 is going to be looking at how are we going to keep our children safe, and that's where we're going to be looking at the child abuse and neglect aspect. So I've included chapters 7 and 10, the PowerPoints for you. But another resource that's going to be really helpful for you is called Caring for Our Children. So last week I introduced you to the Eckers, the big yellow book. And so this week I'm going to give you access to another great resource. It's called Caring for Our Children. You are not going to read it. Please don't freak out because it's about 600 pages. So what I have for you is there's some key guidelines that have been pulled from Caring for Our Children. So that's what you're going to want to review. I have given you the PDF of the entire resource. I would certainly recommend saving this because it addresses just about anything that you can think of that deals with children. So whether or not it is the classroom, whether or not it's vaccinations, toothbrushing, you name it, it's in there. So I just wanted you to have the resource. So definitely make sure that you save it because it's something that you may refer back to. In all honesty, I still refer back to it. And some of the questions that you asked last week, that's where I had to go in order to get my answers. So definitely something worth saving. But again, you are not expected to read the entire publication, but instead read through the key guidelines. So what you're going to be doing this week is responding to a discussion board based on Caring for Our Children. It's another 3-2-1. I just find that it's easier if you know that there's a format, that there's 3 things that you need to talk about and then 2 things and then 1, because then it kind of keeps you focused. And there is an extra credit opportunity for you this week. So when you click on the extra credit opportunity, you're going to see that I'm giving you the link that you can go to in order to get the child abuse and neglect training from the Virginia Department of Social Services. Some of you may already have this if you're working in the field. And if it's fairly current, then you can submit your certificate from that. But if it's not, then I would definitely recommend doing it again so that it is current. So when you go to this link, it's going to take you through a course, although it's something that you can do in one sitting. But basically, you're going to be watching the video, the PowerPoint, the slides, answering some questions. And when you get to the end, then it's going to give you a nice certificate that you definitely want to save. So that is something that once you get to the end and you see your certificate, download it, take a screenshot of it, do something so that you have proof that you completed this training. So if you do decide to complete the extra credit, it is worth 5 extra credit points that I'll just add to your lowest assignment grade when we get to the end of the semester. And so you can either email it to me, but really the easiest thing so that it goes directly into the grade book is you can just upload it right here so that I can put your extra credit in there. So because I do think it's important that you're aware of what your responsibilities are concerning child abuse and neglect, I think this is a great way that it's a win-win for both of us. So that pretty much takes care of week 6 as we get into unit 3, looking at safety. Next week, we will finish up the unit and I will be introducing the health and safety observation that you're going to be completing. You are going to need to complete this observation in a high quality classroom, so I would definitely start looking around in order to do that. And I will give you some places where you can find the locations of some high quality centers when I introduce the assignment next week. But this week is going to be a great introduction that's going to give you some great information as we get ready for the observation next week. So have a great week getting into the safety portion of our course, and I will see you in week 7.